we have our 2023 revaluation presentation. So as you will likely hear from these speakers, the village gets compelled into doing revaluations when we get so far from what the actual real value of property is. And so we are being compelled into revaluation. We'll be working with our sister community of Maplewood. And Ms. Doran, who should we promote? I see Ms. Foy Malgiri with us. Is there anybody else that we need to promote from the list?
Yes, his name is Rich. Is it Busimi? I think it is.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ellen, we can't hear you. If you can unmute. Not yet.
No, he's not there yet.
Nope, we got you.
You got
And
me. Do you
let's-
have Rich Busimi on yet?
Yep. Rich, let me see if we can hear you.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes. All right, Ellen, I'm sorry for the less than flattering intro to a revaluation in 2023, but it's not a testament to your incredible professionalism and how efficient you are at doing something like this, but rather that we're in a situation where we need to do another reval. So with that said, I'll turn it over to you and Rich.
Okay, just let me do a little bit of introduction. As you know, we are having a revaluation. We have hired professional property to do the revaluation, and Rich is going to be leading it from them for South Orange and Maplewood. So he's got a small presentation to give you an overview of what to expect. And then if you have any specific questions or follow up, we can go from there, but I'll open it up to Rich and let him do his little thing. So Rich, you want to begin?
Sure. Hi, good evening, everybody, and thanks for having me. So as stated, my name is Rich Buscemi. I am one of the project managers with Professional Property Appraisers, and I will be conducting or being the manager for both South Orange and Maplewood as well. So as Ellen stated as well, I do have just a short presentation, just a typical PowerPoint we do for all public meetings. And I don't know, is it possible just to share my screen?
Jetta, can you give him?
Yes, sir, you're now presenter.
Thank you.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay, can everyone see okay?
You're good, Rich. Go ahead.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, so just make sure it's working. Okay, so what is a revaluation? A revaluation is a program undertaken by a municipality to appraise all real property at its fair market value. The goal of a revaluation program is to ensure the tax burden is equitably distributed throughout the municipality. So what is it meant by fair market value? Fair market value is a price at which the municipal assessor believes a property would sell for at a fair and bona fide sale by a private contract on October 1st of the pre-tax year. So basically, what would a house would sell for in the open market, a willing buyer, a willing seller, where a property is not under a foreclosure or it's, an estate sale, something of that nature. So why reval now? Revaluation is warranted when properties in a taxing district are being assessed substantially below or above true market value. The average property currently in South Orange is assessed at 77% of market value for 2022. The last revalue that occurred was in 2017. So who will conduct the revaluation? As everyone knows, the township has entered into an agreement with Professional Property Appraisers Incorporated to perform both township-wide revaluations. So here's some information about our data collectors or field representatives, as well as a picture of what we would look like. We all do wear uniforms. It will be cold when we start, so we also do wear jackets. Everything does have our name on it, and as well as each data collector will have a photo identification badge visibly displayed. It will show the company's name, professional property appraisers, as well as the individual's name. And also, if asked, the inspector can provide a letter of introduction on a municipal letterhead that contains a telephone number for questions or concerns. And, we always encourage you, make sure you ask to see credentials of anyone seeking to enter your home and do not admit anyone who cannot produce this identification. So what occurs during the revaluation process? Interior and exteriors of each property are physically inspected and building dimensions are noted. The exterior of the property will be photographed, and then recent sales of comparable properties are analyzed and will be adjusted to estimate the value of the property that has not been sold, or the new property's assessment. For commercial properties, they're typically purchased for investment properties, so they're more studied on its terms of its income producing capability. All information believed to influence the value will be gathered, reviewed, and analyzed. So what's expected of the property owners? Interior inspections especially require that the residents cooperate with data collectors. The validity of a market value depends on the collection of the accurate data. Any assistance a taxpayer can provide will aid in the total data collection process. If there's any information you believe should be considered in the evaluation, please inform the data collector at the time of the inspection. We will make every effort to cause the property owners the least possible inconvenience. And remember that the data collectors are not necessarily responsible for developing the market value estimate. Their job is to usually collect pertinent information to be used later as a base to develop the property's value. So what's some information we're looking for? Data collectors will record such items as the overall condition of your property, your number of bathrooms, what kind of heat you have, if you have central air or not, if you have a attic or a basement, and are those areas finished or unfinished, and number of fireplaces. The exterior inspection include measurements of each structure, such as garages, in-ground pools, and any other accessory building that you may have. Examples of what we do not look for that are not noted are, how well is your house decorated, if you have fences, window air conditioning, gas grills, landscapings, etc. So what if you're not home?
Sorry, can I
So-
I don't want to stop your presentation, but the fences
Yep.
is that's not important?
It doesn't, for taxation purposes, no. It could, don't get me wrong, it could influence, your market sale, but it's not something that's being taxed on or that goes into the valuation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. So what if you're not home? Upon the initial visit, a notice will be left on your door stating that we were there with information as who the inspector was, and also a phone number to give us a call to schedule an appointment. At that point, we will continue to do the exterior inspection, measurement of the exterior of the home and any outbuildings. If we do not hear from you in the near future, a second attempt will be made on your property, leaving another notice on your house asking you to call for an appointment again. Appointments can be scheduled, during weekdays, evenings, and as well as Saturdays if need be. If we are not able to inspect your home, the interior information will be estimated. So obviously everyone's biggest concern, will my taxes go up? So although the revaluation will result in a change of nearly all individual assessed values, it does not mean that all property tax burdens will change. The tax rate will have to be adjusted in 2024 to compensate for the change in the assessed value. So a quick example I like to use is if the average assessment were to go up 50% in value, that means the tax rate for the municipality would have to be dropped by 50% to obtain the same budget. And since not all properties appreciate in the value at the same rate, some tax levies will go up, some will stay about the same, and others will go down. So will taxpayers be informed about their new proposed assessment? And yes, a notice of the new assessed values for each property will be mailed out towards the end of 2023. The impact of the new assessments will not affect the property owner's tax bill until the 2024 tax year. So if a taxpayer, what if a property, I'm sorry, what if a taxpayer is dissatisfied with the proposed assessment? The notice of your new 2024 assessed value will explain how to arrange for a personal informal meeting with one of our representatives, from our company, to review your proposed assessment. Taxpayers attending the review should be prepared to support any disagreement regarding the assessed value of their property. For example, recent sales of similar or comparable properties, or if there's an incorrect data collected on your property record card. An example would be we have incorrect number of bathrooms. So what can a taxpayer do if he or she is not satisfied as a result of the informal meeting? If for any reason a taxpayer is not satisfied with the assessed value for any given year, the taxpayer has the right to file a formal appeal with the County Board of Taxation on April 1st of that given year, and it's extended to May 1st for the year after the revaluation. So that is it for the presentation. I'll leave this up for a minute. This is just our contact information, but that's all I have. And if anyone has any questions, I am open ears.
Rich, let me start off with a couple of questions that I've already gotten from people. In spring and summer, if we're still doing them, they're going to be working late into the day, dinner time, early dinner time, if the weather is good, rather than just like 9 to 5. They'll be out there longer.
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation. But if we do offer those evening appointments as well. So like if we miss somebody, we will have evening appointments throughout the week as well for us to come back to just do the interior inspection.
All right. And the other question that I've gotten is when you're determining the value of a property, and I think we've talked about, going back with Jim, we talked a little bit about, everything was going to be posted and everybody's new assessment would be there and things. Is it going to be the comparable sales that were used to come up with the new assessment for a particular property? Is that going to be available to people to see what sales you used to come up with the value?
Yeah, all sales will be posted on our website, and we can also share the same link with the municipality if you want to post on your website as well.
But will you be able to say for a particular house which ones you used, or as opposed to just a general area? Is that something they'll be able to look at?
So on the list, it'll just give you the all the sales that were used in the entire municipality. If you want to get an idea, since it is mass appraisal, you're not assigning 3 to 5 sales to each property, again, just because it's mass appraisal, you don't have time or something like that. So I would encourage, if someone was curious on what comparables could be used to support the value, that's where you would want to call and set up in a meeting, and then we can go over the information and focus more on sales. Our representatives are able to look at comparable homes obviously at a much easier fashion than maybe the average taxpayer.
Okay, and we know the letters went out because I've already gotten phone calls from people that have received their letters. Do you have an idea of when we are going to have people out starting to do the inspections? Yeah, timetable?
I believe we could probably start towards the end of the week. I'm going to just confirm with Jim on that. And before we start, I'd also would notify you before we obviously to let you know. And also we talked about, the map as well.
Right, where they're going to start, so I can post
Yep.
on the website what area of town they're in. So not everybody's waiting at the same time. We do more of a
Absolutely.
area. Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's all I have, Sheena. If anybody else has any questions.
Do you want to stop the share screen component?
Oh, sure.
Easier for me to see if people have questions.
Yes.
All
Sorry
right,
about
bring
that.
on the questions. Trustee Jones.
So I have 2 questions. So there's a map. Will it be like, all right, we're doing these streets on this day or this week? Is that how it's going to be laid out? And is it something that people can just schedule an appointment versus someone just showing up at their house? This is question number 1.
Yeah, so regarding question number one with the map, we're actually going to be starting in block and lot order number, which you'll be able to identify that on the map. It's too hard to say exactly, you know, which streets we're going to be on. We try to get a general idea of where we're going to be working. You know, if we have, I'm just going to use like 4 inspectors as an example. But you know, how tax maps work, they go by map page, which also correlate with the block numbers. So someone might, an inspector will be working on map page 1, an inspector will be working on map page 2, and so on and so forth. And then we would kind of move in the town with that. But that map will be posted to say exactly, you know, we have an inspector on map page 1 in you know, blocks that start with, you know, number 1. I think it starts at 101 actually.
And then can they schedule an appointment versus you just showing up at their house?
You can certainly schedule an appointment if you, and then we can make a you know, special arrangement for that. We still encourage, you know, the average taxpayer to wait till you come around. But by all means, if you know, you don't want us coming when you're not home, by all means, please give us a call.
And then just my other question is, there's a lot of construction going on with people's houses in town. How do you assess the value with the, I guess, the construction that's happening?
Yeah, you mean like houses that are being like flipped or?
Are people doing, I know people are doing full bathrooms and full kitchens,
Mhm.
and so how does
Yeah.
that get assessed when you, if it's not even complete, how does that happen?
Yeah, so if a particular house that isn't complete, that'll be something that's just noted during the inspection process, and that's why, you know, you have in play you know, permits, and you look for a CO. And that's something we would go over with the assessor towards, you know, the end of the year to say, you know, could we inspect this property, you know, earlier in the year? We noticed that some construction was going on. You know, what do you have a status update? And that point, we might try to do another inspection on that property.
Thank you.
More questions? I know we have a full agenda. Rich, just let me repeat a couple things that I've always shared with residents, and if I've been misinforming them the whole time, feel free to correct me publicly. So what I like to tell people is that it's kind of like the rule of thirds, is that a third of the homes might go down, a third of the homes will likely stay the same, a third will go up. Is that a good general rule of thumb?
Yeah, that's something we definitely you know, preach and practice as well. That's definitely
Okay,
a
great.
good way to look at it.
That's fabulous. And I like to break things down even more for our residents is, you know, for anybody watching, it does not mean that everybody's taxes are going up, everybody's values are going up, and oh my goodness, we're going to have this huge brand new municipal budget. Not true. Pretend our budget is $10 and, you know, Summer's property went up in value and Ellen's property stayed the same and my went down. We still need to levy $10. $10 is what the municipality needs to run. So what it's saying is that Summer's going to be paying a little bit more because her property's gone up. Ellen's not going to see too much of a difference because hers remain the same. And mine's going down in taxes because mine proportionally did not go up in value as much as others did. So that's
Yes.
important to note during a revaluation is this is not about creating a brand new, bigger budget for everyone. I always said that the assessment and the tax rate have an inverse relationship, is that the assessment is going up, you know, then the tax rate will go down and vice versa when we're under assessed and properties that, you know, are assessed at $500,000 should be assessed at $700,000. It just means that our effective tax rate will be reducing there. So I don't want people to panic thinking that, you know, all of a sudden everybody's getting slammed with significant tax increases. We already know taxes are high, but this is more just to make sure everybody pays their fair share as an apportionment of the overall municipal budget. So it's more of a fairness issue of who's paying what. Sound good,
Exactly. Yeah,
Rich?
you're right on. Yeah, exactly. Right on.
If you need me for any marketing materials, I'll give you my number.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
and I'll just say, the presentation will be on the website. I have frequently asked questions that we're gonna post on the website, and then we'll try and keep everything up to date as things are determined and, you know, put up lists and put up sales and put up assessments as we're much further in the process. And, everyone should have gotten their letter. I've already gotten a couple of emails from people asking, you know, is it legitimate? Is the company? And I told them my name, the logo, everything is on the letter. So yes, you can believe that it's true and someone's going to come a knocking.
Actually, I have just one more question. When people show up to homes, let's just assume somebody didn't see the notices, et cetera. What is the identifying, either jacket, something, credentials, for the people who want to see those before they allow someone into their home?
Sure. Yeah. So a couple things. We have photo identifications that, I mean, it is just it's our company name, and as well as a photo ID of the inspector as well as their name. Our uniforms, with our jackets, they say our company name on them. And then if not, they'd be wearing just a polo shirt as well, like a blue or gray polo shirt, again, stating our name. We also walk around with what's called, and collect the data on it, is Microsoft Surface Pros. It's, basically looks like an iPad. And we have like a 100-foot measuring tape. So it kind of sticks out too. We have it like hooked onto our, on our belt. And then also we have a letter from Ellen, with municipal letterhead, stating who we are, and if they have any questions, please call. And we will never try to force our way into someone's property. If someone is not comfortable, we will certainly walk away and leave a card and say, and obviously tell them to please call with any questions or concerns to the municipality.
And just so you know, all the names and vehicles identification have all gone to the police department, and the police department has a listing of everybody that should be out there and their cars and license plates also. So if there's any questions, somebody can just pick up the phone, call PD, and they can run through the list and verify who's out there also.
Great. Okay, thank
Okay.
you both so much for being
Okay.
here, and here's to a successful revaluation.